Weigh-in day ahead of a monster of a fight. You know all about it by now. Artur Beterbiev against Anthony Yarde this Saturday night. Tomorrow night, I can't believe it's here, live on BT Sport. And with me, I've got another monster. How about this guy, Mr. Gareth A. Davis? How are we?
Well, I love being called a monster on weigh-in day. I'm not going to strip, but I'm not much of a monster. I think I'm a shrunken down, shriveled old wreck rather than a monster.
I think you're looking good. I'll tell you what though, if you're not a monster, you are a monster whisperer, because you've been able to talk to Artur Beterbiev. You got more than one word out of him this week. How did you manage it?
Mirroring him, believe it or not. I mean, he is the ice cool guy, and let's be honest, like you just said, it's a monster event, a monster fight. It's the irresistible force against the immovable object, isn't it? And we're going to see these two savages stripped off. We're moments away from it, aren't we? Cannot wait. And I hope we feel some electricity, because there hasn't been a lot of hype around this fight other than what they say they're going to do in the ring in a very gentle way, because they're gentlemen fighters, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're brutes in the ring, absolute brutes. These are fighters that let their fists do the talking. Look, before we talk about Beterbiev Yarde, because I know we've only got you for a couple of minutes, there has been breaking news within the last half hour or so. Jake Paul, Tommy Fury, that's Alfie Warren as well. Jake Paul, Tommy Fury, it is official. February 26th, this fight, this time, is happening. Talk to me.
Well, it's a fantastic fight. It's going to get the whole YouTube generation watching, the boxing fans watching. Massive jeopardy for Tommy Fury. As Tyson Fury has joked, if you lose in Saudi, I don't know if they've announced the venue, but if you lose in Saudi, stay in Saudi. As John Fury said, the doors are locked if he loses to Jake. I was going to say I'm going to pick Jake Fury to win, because that's sitting on the fence. But I think Tommy does this, even though he's not the favourite with the bookmakers, which is a big no. Okay. He's not the favourite with the bookmakers. He's got to do it. There's so much jeopardy. He cannot lose to Jake Paul, but I can't wait to see the fight.
I mean, it is unthinkable that he loses, right? I mean, all the talk has been, Tommy Fury has been saying that the guys that he has boxed would knock out Jake Paul because they're proper boxers. So he's really talked the talk heading into this. A lot of pressure on his shoulders. It's
been really hyped. There's loads of intrigue. I'm so pleased it's finally happening, because it's going to get eyeballs on the sport. It's a fun fight. It's as simple as that. I've got to go and do the other side of the room now.
Yes. Perfect. Look, it's been great having you.
It's always a pleasure.
You are
anytime.
The monster whisperer, and hopefully we'll speak to you very shortly. One quick one. Beterbiev or Yarde?
My heart wants Anthony Yarde to win, but my head says late stoppage for Beterbiev between rounds 9 and 11, and I'll let Raven take over. The beautiful Raven, the savage Raven take over.
Thank you,
a seamless transition. Thank you very much, Gareth A. Davis. Hello, Raven.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Look at this.
I know. Yeah, everyone's telling me I have to take it everywhere I go.
You clearly are.
I've been getting very good entrance in those places. Always free. Free things.
I'll tell you what. The black and gold is popping though.
Yeah,
black and gold
that was the plan.
Thing.
That was the plan.
So before we talk about Beterbiev Yarde, I want to get your thoughts on Tommy Fury, Jake Paul. It's announced now. It's out there.
Yes. Okay. Is it announced now?
What are you thinking on that?
No, I think it's finally gone over the line. They've had a lot of back and forth, and it'll be interesting. Obviously, when I had my Nando's with Amanda, she's talking a lot about Jake Paul and how hard he's training and how professional he's being. So I think actually it's going to be a tougher fight for Tommy than people might think it will be, as much as he's a YouTuber. He's training solid, full-time, three times a day, every day. He's taking it seriously, so it'll be exciting.
I don't think we can call him a YouTuber now.
No.
I think YouTubers, do they do 3 sessions a day? Are they
Definitely
boxing guys
not.
like Anderson Silva? I know he's an MMA legend.
Yeah,
but I
think
know.
this is where Jake now needs to start going into more the boxing world and not the older MMA fighters. To see what he's really got, because obviously he's been looking good against them, but against a proper boxer like Tommy. But again, we can't forget Tommy was on, what was it, Love Island?
Yeah.
So
2019.
Has he been taking it seriously, or is that taken the limelight a little bit from Tommy's boxing? So it's an interesting one.
Look, we could talk all day about that fight, and I'm sure we will, but let's talk about why we are here.
Yes.
You couldn't help but keep away from this big weigh-in today.
I couldn't.
Give me your initial thoughts on this fight. Artur Beterbiev, Anthony Yarde, tomorrow night.
Well, I think it's going to be an explosive fight, honestly. What 2 great styles coming head to head. the fight that not a lot of people wanted to take, with Beterbiev and Anthony Yarde stepping up to it, and he clearly believes in himself, believes that he's got it, and so do I. He's got to stay sharp, got to stay on the ball, on the game, start fast, put it to him. I think that's how he's going to come out on top. What
have you made of Beterbiev's demeanour this week?
I mean, how have you found it, Deb?
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. I mean, it's been quite cold. There's been one-word answers, but there's been a little bit of humour in there as well. Yeah. But he probably will slap me at some point. Yeah, I think he's gunning for you at the moment. I think it'll be interesting. We might have a Beterbiev v Dev after the Yarde fight. Yeah? Definitely not. But look, these are two guys that do all their talking in the ring. Yeah. They've both been very, very respectful of each other. A bit like you, really.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think having shown that respect for the fighters, everyone getting in there, it's a hard job to do, so you have to respect anyone that gets in that ring. And as much as it can be entertaining to have that back and forth, when it's not real, what's the point in doing it? Do it in the ring, let your fists do the talking, and I think that's exactly what these guys are planning to do. We'll see what happens.
What about these weigh-ins then? You've done a few now in your time. When you go face to face with your opponent, do you take anything away from them? And I'll tell you why I asked the question. Because both of these guys, whenever I've asked them, what did you see in his eyes after a face-off, they say brown or whatever the colour. They just say, I just saw eyes. What do you see when you look at
No, do you know what? I go to my inner Tyson. When you're the lion, you go in there, you want to kill. Yes. So it's that little stare down. I think sometimes it's getting that mental edge over your opponent. If you can stay there,
so you do try and take something from it?
Yeah, I do. I've always done that, even from the amateur days. It's that I don't take my eyes off them and then kind of go into like a mean place.
Right. So is that a case of whoever blinks first loses, or is it whoever looks away first?
Yeah, whoever looks away. Your eye might quiver. There's subtle signs that you look for that might show, I've broken them down a little bit there, or I've gained a little mental edge here. Yeah. I look for that. I try and do it. Power poses, chest out, arms.
That is fascinating, because different fighters treat it differently.
That's it, yeah.
You're out March 25th, I believe, Telford.
Yeah, defending the belt.
Defending the belt. You're in with a serious fighter, though, right? This is a proper fight. Tell us about it.
She's a proper fighter. She's got a very good record. She's had 17 fights. She's won 15 of them, lost one. And that one she's lost is to, one of the best featherweights up there at the moment, Nina Menke. It'll be really interesting. There's a step up for me, which is what we want, and a step in the right direction towards going for the world title. So I'm very excited.
That's the one. Good way to start the year. Well, Raven, I think we're gonna probably swap you out, but give me your final prediction. Artur Beterbiev, Anthony Yarde. What is going to happen there tomorrow night? Tell me.
Yarde inside 5.
Love it. Lions in the camp. Thank you so much,
Thank
Raven
you,
Chapman.
See you soon. Bye.
Raven Chapman will be back on the 25th of March on our Telford show, a great show. And I think we're about to bring in Mr. Andy Clark, Mr. Boxing himself. Hello, Andy. How are you?
Hi, Dev. Yes, good, thanks. You?
Thanks for joining me. What did you make of the press conference yesterday?
I enjoyed it. I thought there was a lot of good stuff that came out of it. I liked the line about, I don't care if I'm an underdog, an overdog, a middle dog, I'm just a dog. That was great. Line. I was a huge fan of that. And it just goes to show we say this often, but you don't need trash talk. Having two really respectful guys is great. I like the fact that I think he understands more than maybe he lets on, Artur, but he doesn't speak that much English, but that kind of preserves that sort of mystique about him. It's the same with Usyk and Lomachenko, and I like that. I think that's good. I think that's a good tool to kind of sell the fight, and I really like what Tunde said too.
I thought that was. I messaged him afterwards. I just said I thought that was a beautiful speech. Yeah,
I really enjoyed it because, he went about things differently earlier in his career, earlier in Anthony's career, and when you talk as much as he did, then when things go wrong, you're going to get it, and he did get it. People were happy to give it to him in the wake of defeats, but that was good stuff. Yeah. And you can tell that he's evolved over the last 2 or 3 years as he's been on this journey, because although he's a lot older than Anthony, he's about my age, I think, he's a much more kind of experienced in life in top level boxing, they've always been doing it together, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, what he said was that Anthony Yarde is his hero and that he's learnt so much from it. And I visibly saw him choke up a little bit when he said it, and Anthony looked over to him. It was quite a moment. I've enjoyed this muted version of Tunde Ajayi. It's probably not getting the views that it used to, the braggadocious, like we'd beat Andre Ward, all of this kind of stuff.
No, probably not.
Many years ago, but I like it, and it's that energy, that knowing energy. Are you feeling that from them?
Yeah, I think mentally they're in a really good place. He's very composed and calm, Anthony. That's something that's always been really impressive about him. And they really feel that they're ready and that they've got a good chance in this fight. And you have to give him a chance in this fight. Logic dictates that Beterbiev is a heavy favourite.
Yeah.
And it would be silly to say anything else. But he does have a chance. People always talk about a puncher's chance, but I always think that's a bit disrespectful to suggest that that's all that somebody's got.
Exactly.
Because if you get to this level, you have to have more than that.
Yeah.
He's got some ring intelligence. He does learn quickly. He's got some minerals. He won't panic. He has a chance in this fight. What would help would be if tomorrow night was the night where for the first time Artur looks 38.
Yeah.
He hasn't looked 38 yet, but it's coming. At some point it'll happen. At some point he'll get in there and he'll just be missing a step.
It is inevitable. You can't go through 300 odd amateur fights. You can't be 38 years of age. Go through all the training camps as well. People forget about that.
Yeah, exactly.
You're whipping yourself into shape. Tell me this. Do you think weight... Do you think he might struggle to make the weight? Because I've seen him in the Marcus Brown fight. This is Beterbiev I'm talking about. He missed weight the first time, and he had 2 hours to make it, and then he came back. Him being away from home, in a new country, having to adjust, do you think that could affect his weight-making process?
Well, it's possible, and you would know better than me, but I think they came over here quite late, didn't they? When did they fly over? Last Friday. Okay, well, that's okay. That's okay. You've got 7-8 days. That's what you would expect, because, the flying and all of that can hold on to weight. Travel weight is a thing.
Yeah.
But that's obviously long enough to get rid of that. They're too experienced to fall into that kind of trap. But if you're tight, then you're tight. And the older you get, the harder it gets to get rid of that last bit. I do expect him to make it. I'd be shocked if he doesn't make it. When you stand next to him, he's surprisingly small.
Do you think so? Small?
Well, yeah. I mean,
everyone's massive to me, mate. I'm looking at Arthur. Yeah, you're getting
there's no doubt he's really powerful,
yeah.
But I mean, he's obviously very dense, isn't he?
Yes,
in terms of his physique, and we all know how hard he can hit. But Yarde will be in spectacular shape. He always is. And I'm looking forward to seeing the face-off. I think it will be intense. I think it will be long. I think it'll be what somebody needs to have a piece of white paper ready just to slot it between the two of them and break the gaze.
Whenever they've faced off before, I'll tend to ask them, what did you see in his eyes? And they both give very similar answers. They both say, I saw eyes. Both exactly the same kind of thing. I wonder if, this being the last one, it will be different this time. The fact that they'll be sort of, they'll be topless, sort of ready to fight. They'll feel each other. Maybe it will be different this time. I don't know. What do you think?
I think the best face-off is generally the one you get at the weigh-in, because it's just much closer to business time. They've had to make weight. They're switching gradually into fight mode.
Yes.
As the week goes on, the more experienced you are, maybe the later you can do it, but gradually you're kind of bit by bit. I remember Paulie Malignaggi describing it to me once as taking yourself to that place. And we all know what he's talking about, mentally preparing yourself for going to war, for doing whatever it takes to win, because that's what you've got to be prepared to do in there, whatever it takes. And another aspect about this is Yarde is the younger, hungrier guy, for success. He hasn't done what Beterbiev has done. And as you get older too, things can change, priorities in your life can change. And maybe you don't quite want it as much as you did. And when you end up in that really, really hard fight, it might not be there to the extent that you need it to be. Whereas for the other person who hasn't done what you've done, it will be. These are little things, and it might sound like we're grasping a bit, but they happen. You see it, don't you? You do see it.
I think that's an interesting point about the hunger. I'm not sure I agree with you that that Beterbiev could be less hungry, just because I'm not sure that he has made that retirement money yet in his career. I think he'll need to do that, because this fight, potentially a win could set up a fight with Canelo, Bivol. You'd think that these are bigger fights, big money fights. So I don't know about that, but it's It's very
It's
interesting.
a possibility, but I would tend to agree with you that for the reasons you just mentioned, that for him, even though he is 38 and the unified champion, he hasn't really had that absolute crowning night just yet. It should really have been against Gvozdyk, but the fight didn't attract the attention that it really should have for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, look, there's been other breaking news within the last hour or so. I'm sure you've checked your phone and you've seen it. It's on. It's official. Jake Paul, Tommy Fury, February 26th. Your initial thoughts, please, Andy?
You know what, I am kind of fascinated by that fight. I'm not just saying that because I quite fancy TalkSport picking that up and going over there, but I am genuinely kind of intrigued by it, because we see with the Misfits boxing, it's got its own space, and that's fine. You know, that's really where it should be, in its own space. But the thing with Jake Paul is that he's kind of, more than the others, I think he's dedicated himself to the sport, and he's better than the rest of them. And Tommy Fury is an actual professional boxer, although a novice. And I know KSI fought a professional a few weeks ago, but I don't count that. Whereas Fury will 100%, he's coming to win. He's not in the role of stooge here to kind of further Jake Paul's boxing career.
Of course, he's here to end it.
Exactly, this is a proper fight.
Yeah.
I was beginning to think that it probably wasn't going to happen, but now it is happening. And I think as we get closer to it, it's going to be big news.
I think so as well. Look, I think it's important to define this, as you mentioned there, in its own lane from Misfits. This is not Misfits. This is a professional boxer in Tommy Fury, trains every day, and a professional boxer now in Jake Paul. I count him as a pro boxer. He's training 3 times a day. How many of these Misfits are doing that? This is a proper fight.
Yeah, and that is the difference. Exactly. You know, he's always said that he wants to box a pro boxer. He's boxed athletes from other sports, which I think these are clever people. You know, he's done it right so far. Kind of faded MMA stars. If I'm not disparaging anyone there, I don't really follow it, so I don't really know. A basketball player who clearly hadn't done a lick of proper training and got knocked out. And the next step was always going to be box a pro boxer, someone who is acknowledged as being a pro boxer. You're not going to get in there with a really experienced fighter, because Tommy Fury isn't that. No. But you look at the background, and somebody who's going to come to win. Yeah, for whom defeat against you is unthinkable. Yeah, absolutely, it's unthinkable for Fury.
I mean, and you said it there. It's unthinkable, it's unfathomable, and the pressure being put on that young man with so much what's going on. He's about to, his partner's about to give birth, and his dad is saying he's going to disown him if he loses. Tyson's saying he can stay in Saudi Arabia if he loses. What must be going through the mind of Tommy Fury?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how helpful that is, that level of pressure. I didn't know about the about the kid that's on the way. That could give you extra motivation, of course, or it could maybe be a distraction. But there's no doubt that he knows that he is expected to win this fight, and that it's not going to go down well at all if he doesn't manage to do it. So his mettle will be very much tested, because fight week will be interesting. Jake Paul will have a few strokes that he's going to try and pull. Of course. There's no question about that. And he needs to try and make sure that he doesn't expend too much emotional, mental energy during fight week. He'll have to engage to an extent, because you've got to do your part and sell the fight, but at the same time, it's not like you admit defeat on that front, but you don't want to be tussling too much. Just do what you need to do and get out of the room as much as you can. Absolutely.
Well, look, that's chat about pressure. Tell me about the pressure on Anthony Yarde in this fight tomorrow night. Is he under more pressure than what he was 3.5 years ago against Sergey Kovalev? And the reason I say that is because he's heading out to Russia 3.5 years ago. No one really expected him to win, a huge jump up in levels. This time he's at home. This time he'll look around in the crowd and he'll see familiar faces. Is he under more pressure this time?
Yeah, I think he is, for that reason, because as you say, he is at home. Frank's got him that advantage. But he'll be under more pressure from himself. Yes. And that's kind of like the key thing, really, because although Beterbiev, I think, is a harder job, it's difficult to work out which is a harder job, because he was less experienced against Kovalev. Kovalev a little bit faded at that stage, although 9 weeks later he was beating Canelo, I thought, until he got knocked out. He was doing very well in that fight. Whereas now Yarde is that bit more seasoned, but then Beterbiev is better at this point than Kovalev was at that point. So it's hard to. The gap is probably about the same, but his expectations on himself, because it's not quite the foray into the unknown that it was before, will be greater. He'll see this as a huge opportunity. He's not, you know, he's there to win, and he'll be devastated if he doesn't win. If he acquits himself well but loses, me and you will think, but you know, you should be pleased with that. But they're never pleased with that. They're never proud of a defeat ever.
Look, and we saw that recently with Denzel Bentley when he bravely challenged Janibek over in America. And everyone said, well, what a gallant effort. You were meant to get chinned in a round. That's what everyone was saying. Not me, by the way. And certainly not you. Certainly not you. But in defeat, he was getting interviews about, oh, you did so well, amazing. He was like, no, I wanted to win. I love that attitude.
No, and they all, you know, all the ones who really achieved, they all have that, because I've never met a professional yet who's been proud of a defeat. Maybe once you retire and you look back, you can be, but generally speaking, they can't do that. It's just not in their DNA. You've lost, and that's all there is to it. It doesn't mean that you can't take some positives from it, but ultimately, this is professional sport, and that's what makes them what they are, is that they're there to win. And if he doesn't win, Anthony, he'll be absolutely gutted. Well,
look, I think we've got company. I think we've got the man with a 100% knockout rate. The man who's knocked out every man he's faced. Is it Artur Beterbiev? No, it's Sam Noakes. Come in, Sam, come on. Should we get Sam and Mike? Someone gonna? Come on, let's get Sam and Mike. So, how are you? You alright? Mate, I saw your Instagram. I saw you got my dream picture. Two guys with a 100% knockout rate. You did it. What advice did you give Beterbiev?
He weren't very chatty, to be honest with you.
He ain't been.
I was a little bit too scared to talk to him. I just got the photo. I was all like that, and I didn't even put my arm around him or nothing, mate. Just got the photo, and then the caption was probably a bit of you as well, wasn't it?
What did you say?
I said, here's photo, the scariest man on the planet, and next to him, Artur Beterbiev.
I saw that.
That's a bit of you, isn't it? That is a bit of them.
That's a bit of me, that. Guys, have we got the big fight field, by the way? This is weigh-in day. I'm looking around, and it's absolutely packed in here. It feels like a big one.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely, it does. And I think, you know, having Top Rank over and Bob Arum and all of their staff, that definitely helps with that. But it does feel like that. Having that international fight between Dalakayan and Jimenez, that adds a little bit of spice to it for me too. So yeah, I don't know about you, but it does feel big.
You can say, well, compared to yesterday with the media, not yesterday, that was the press, but Wednesday, it's more people here than Wednesday, wasn't it? I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how busy the arena is tomorrow, to be honest.
No, I've heard it's done very well.
Yeah.
Give me your just general thoughts about this, Sam. This is a big fight in boxing. Queensberry's first show to kick off the year. You a bit gutted you're not on it?
I am, to be fair, but on the flip side, I'm happy on this weigh-in day, and I ain't got to sit around looking all miserable. Yeah. So, but where there's a few of the boys on there, I'm looking forward to being able to just watch all the fights. I mean, you've got Moses making his debut, Carroll's first title fight, my brother, and then the main event's tasty, innit? I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with that before you ask me, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good night of boxing. What a way to start the year for Frank.
Oh yeah, mate, it's an absolute banger. Look, I've asked a few fighters so far. These weigh-ins, these face-offs, right? Do you ever? As we've got people walking through it, we've got a chaotic weigh-in. You're used to this. This is always happening all the time.
How can you not spot? It's amazing.
I mean, maybe I'll stand like this.
You have to block it out there.
Broaden those shoulders. But tell me this: when you're doing face-off with the fighter at the weigh-in, are you trying to get something out of it or not?
Nah, not really. I'm just thinking, I can't wait to get off this bloody stage, mate. Sitting in the thing is, it's hard. I don't know about these two boys because obviously it's a bit more serious, but I find it hard not to laugh because in his head he's going to go like, well, I've got to try and look mean here. Do you know what I'm saying? And in my head, I'm doing the same. Yeah. It's hard not to laugh, mate. It honestly is.
Well, I asked Raven Chapman, and she said, yeah, she tries to outstare her opponent. She tries to make sure she's not the one who looks away first.
I mean,
I'm just going to bring you boys forward a little bit, please.
Realistically, it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, you staring at him ain't going to make no difference, I don't think.
Yeah.
But I don't care really about all that. I think it all comes down to what type of person. If someone looks in my eye longer than me, I'm not going to think, oh my God, he's going to beat me now. Do you know what I'm saying? Just because he looked at me longer,
What about on the night when you get called to the centre of the ring? Because I'm always quite interested when the referee makes fighters touch gloves. Sometimes they'll look at each other. Sometimes one will want to look at the other one and the other one will look at the floor. Sometimes they'll both look at the floor. What do you do?
I think the one for the fight's a bit different, innit? I normally just stare him out and then obviously the ref will say, I'll tap the ref, tap him, and then it's back to the corner and it's game on, innit? But it's all little mind games, but if you're strong-minded, they don't really do a lot, really.
Let me tell you this, that's a very interesting point you've brought up there, Andy, because I was watching back Anthony Yarde's first fight with Kovalev. When they were brought together in the ring just before the very first bell, Anthony Yarde didn't look at him. he was looking down, he was looking away. The Lyndon Arthur second fight, he was looking right at him like, I'm ready to go. So I wonder what we're going to see tomorrow.
Oh no, that's interesting because people do it different ways. I did a fight last week, Echo Westerman against Chris Congo, and they both did look at each other. That's obviously how they do it. Canelo doesn't generally tend to look at his opponent either. He's generally bows his head and just kind of listens to the ref, and then it's like at that point, it's kind of I don't need to be looking at you now. I'm just thinking about what I'm going to do.
That's what I mean. I think everyone does it differently. I mean, if you're a weak-minded person and someone's bogging you out, then you might think, I don't know, but it's what it is. It's all mind games, isn't it? That's what it comes down to.
You share a strength and conditioning coach with Moses Italma and Carol.
Oh yeah,
and there's a few of you down there.
There's a few. He's got a good stable down there, old Jordan.
So that's the secret. It's Jordan, right?
Yeah, he must be. He's going to love that. If he sees his back, he's going to love it. I mean, it's hard trying to keep up with them boys, to be honest. Well, I'll try and have. We had a little competition. Who can do the most reps of 60 kilo? And obviously he beat me, but I reckon I might be able to get.
You lost to Moses Italma.
Yeah, I think he done 53 reps and I done 40. I think so.
What's the weight?
60 kilo.
Jeez, okay.
Far off my fighting weight. That.
Yeah, no,
so
exactly.
It ain't too bad.
No, you've acquitted yourself well there.
Listen, I'm a big little fella, aren't I? Big little fella.
A big little fella indeed. Just a reminder to viewers, we are here at the weigh-in. This is it. Anthony Yarde, Artur Beterbiev, tomorrow night live on BT Sport from 7 o'clock. We're live on ESPN Plus as well. I'm here with Andy Clark. I'm here with Sam Noakes as well. Another man with a 100% KO rate. We were just talking about Moses Italma. Tell us what he's like as a character. You spend a lot of time with him, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Moses, what you see is what you get. Like, he's a nice fella. He's an absolute machine as well. The weights he lifts in the gym. I mean, I've not actually seen him box live, so tomorrow will be the first time for me as well. Even though we were on the amateur circuit together, he was only in a neighbouring club. But I've never seen him box, so I'm very excited to see him do it. Like, I've seen videos, but not live.
What about Carol?
Yeah, Carol's class, and he's class operator on and off camera. He's the same, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? So brilliant fight. I'm excited for both of them.
It's a big one. It's a big one, Andy. The room is heating up. I think this is a very exciting time in boxing. It's got that feeling.
At weigh-ins, you literally do feel the room heat up because you get a lot of people in it. Fighters.
Oh, my hand's sweating.
If you get backstage with fighters as well, like there's a certain smell, and it's kind of partly them making weight and their breath's not great a lot of the time, but it's also adrenaline.
Yeah,
you get that kind of, it's that kind of like, you get that kind of napalm in the air, don't you? In the weigh-in room when you're backstage waiting to come on, it's like the temperature in there is.
See, when I'm weighing in, boys, I don't like having too much of a chat. I just want to get it done. I mean, I remember one time you're doing the name call, I've already stripped off, jumping on them scales, I ain't waiting about.
Yeah, that's quite annoying actually, because I'm like trying to G it all up. You've already gone.
To be fair, I don't even bring the belts with me when I weigh in anymore either. I always leave them at home as well. I just want to get in, get done, get home, bosh, done.
Well, look, I can see Adam Morley out of the corner of my eye, who perhaps is going to come in for a chat if he wants to turn around. Come on, let's have a chat. Come on, let's have a chat. Someone grab this man a mic. Well, you can probably grab it yourself. Come on, grab that mic. Grab that mic. Come in, Adam Morley. Come, let's stand here. You know it's a big fight when Adam Morley rocks up and he's got nothing to do with it. Hey, how are you? No, I know you got Tommy. You're here for Yarde Beterbiev, aren't you? Come on. How excited are you about this fight?
Yarde Beterbiev?
Yeah, talk to me.
Great fight. I think, Beterbiev's 38 years old. Yeah. I think people are wondering what he's got in the tank, what he's got left in the tank, and then they're looking at Anthony Yarde and thinking, kind of, what Anthony Yarde are they going to get? So I think it's a terrific fight.
Well, you mentioned it there. You are here really on Tommy Fletcher business. He is an S-Jam fighter. You are his manager.
Yep.
He has looked picture perfect so far. He has left people asleep. How are you finding his career so far?
Yeah, look, I think for a fighter like Tommy, you've got to turn up and do the business. And if you do the business, Queensberry, BT, those guys invest in you. And they like what Tommy's doing. It's appealing to boxing fans, it's appealing to casual fans. Yeah. They want to see people get knocked out, put to sleep. That guy last time was out for like 60 seconds, wasn't he?
He was.
And
although it's a good knockout, that one.
It's a good knockout.
Although it's like
tomorrow as well, even though he's got a tough test.
He's got a tough. You think he's going to knock Daryl Sharp out?
Well, because Carroll would have done it if it was over.
That'd be
6.
impressive.
Yeah.
No, because I reckon Carroll would have done it if it was over 6 rounds. Yeah, and obviously Tommy's the weight above, and he's got 6 rounds. So I've got faith in the boy. I've had a little bet with him.
Three times. 96 losses.
Yeah, he's very tough.
That's what I mean. He even
very
sells himself
tough.
already, doesn't it? I've got faith in the boy.
I've got faith in him.
I reckon he's going to do it. Honestly,
I do. I'm with you.
But with regard to him, you probably can't say too much, but I mean, I remember hearing a while ago, maybe towards the back end of 2021 or early last year, that there were a few people after him. And I thought he might be going somewhere else, but then he ended up signing with Queensberry. I
Chose correctly, yeah.
There were suitors, weren't there?
There were definitely suitors. We spoke to a lot of different promoters. Obviously, we have boxers with a lot of promoters. We spoke to them, but Tommy loved it when he met Frank and George, actually, and Andy Ayling. But he particularly loved it when he met Frank and George, and Frank has the track record in building a heavyweight, which is what Tommy may well turn out to be from the ground up.
When do you think that'll happen? He's 21 now, right?
Yeah.
He's 6'7", and
Is that what he is? 6'7"?
He's just 21. He's younger than
That's
you,
a lot,
mate.
man. That's a lot, man.
There's a lot of him.
Yeah. And what Moses is like 18. Like it's a kid's game, isn't it? A young man's game.
Yeah.
Like what they're eating, man. I'm only like 5'8" and a half.
I think, not right now. I mean, he was taking fights between 13.5 and 14.4 not so long ago.
Yeah.
So he's going to go past Cruiser. I think, year to 2 years, get him in the heavyweight mix.
I've seen he's been sparring heavyweights though, right? He's been putting in the rounds with Big Johnny Fisher. How's that
He
going?
is good. I mean, he does a lot of sparring with Johnny, but we're even thinking of maybe sending him out to Vegas to spar Joe.
Okay.
If Joe has a heavyweight southpaw next,
Okay.
then Tommy might be good. But Joe's like, doesn't want to get knocked out by Tommy Fletcher.
Who would? Yeah, you don't want to deteriorate that chin.
I
I don't think Joe Joyce is scared of getting knocked out by anybody.
No,
to be honest with you.
I'm with you on that as well.
But saying that, you don't want Joe Joyce taking massive lumps in sparring every
No.
week, though, do you?
Joe's not afraid of it, but it's like Tommy does hit hard.
Yeah, you're right. You have to be sensible.
Yeah.
You have to be sensible in the gym, because as indestructible as he seems, putting miles on the clock is never a good idea.
Oh, and we've had incidents. Won't talk about incidents in sparring where other people have come off quite badly, so we don't need to do that to Joe Joyce.
Talking about the main event, though, Adam, what have you made of Artur Beterbiev's demeanour? I'm sure you followed some of him, sandbagging me this week.
Look, when you have a boxer like that, I think it's difficult at the start of their career to promote them, because they're all about the boxing. That's what he wants to do. He's not about slating people or having big story, and his quality just comes through. So I love his quality.
Yeah. He's a quirky character. He's given a lot of one-word answers. At this point, fighters, they just want to fight, don't they? They're in fight week. They don't care about any of this.
No, I mean, Beterbiev doesn't. I think Anthony Yarde's probably more of a showman in that regard.
Yeah.
But I'd love him to win. I'd love Anthony to win.
Brilliant. Well, look, it's been great talking to you, Adam. We'll let you go. We'll probably swap you out for someone. I'll take that off you. Good luck with Tommy. And the official weigh-in is now starting. And we're going to have a look at the weigh-in.
Well, a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, the doors will open tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Our first fight will begin at 5 p.m. And then at 7 p.m. London time, we will be going live on BT Sport and ESPN+. Well, we are going to begin the weigh-in process with two fighters competing in a scheduled 10-round contest, and it will be for the vacant WBC International Light Heavyweight Championship. First to the scale, coming to us from Buenos Aires, Argentina. He brings a record consisting of 28 wins, 10 defeats, with 18 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ezekiel Osvaldo Maderna.
Basically condensed numbers.
12 stone, 6 pounds, 11 ounces for Ezekiel Osvaldo Maderna. And now we welcome to the scale his opponent tomorrow night in this championship contest. Undefeated with 9 wins. 7 of his 9 wins come by way of knockout from Chatham, Kent, England. Let's welcome Carol Italma. 12 stone, 6 pounds, 2 ounces for Carol Atalma. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, these two competing tomorrow night in a scheduled 10-round contest. It will be for the vacant WBC International Light Heavyweight Championship.
Gold medalist, one of the two Atalma brothers featuring tomorrow night live on BT Sport. And this could be a glimpse into the future of British boxing. One of them making his pro debut, one of them fighting for his first title. I'm joined here stage side by Andy Clark, stage side by Sam Noakes. We had to get another guy knocked out every man in his face. And delighted to be in your company, boys.
4-round international heavyweight contest. First to the scale from the Czech Republic. His professional record, 2 wins, just 1 defeat. Both of his wins come by way of knockout. Let's welcome Marcel Bode.
Well, Marcel Bode is the man assigned with the task of
I reckon he's going to have it rough tomorrow, aren't
well, let's see if it bodes well, hey?
In these situations, I do wonder how much the fighter knows about the opponent. What has the manager told him?
Yeah. Just a little holiday to England.
15 stone, 10 pounds for Marcel Bode.
15 stone 10, he's a small heavyweight then.
Small heavyweight. Very interested to see what Moses weighs in at 18 years
I
old.
feel a little bit sorry for the boy, to be honest.
Making his professional boxing debut, let's welcome Moses Atalma.
Well, there you have it. Fantastic ovation here for Moses Atalma. The T-shirt says past, present, future. He's crossed out the past, he's crossed out the future, and he is focused on the present. The present is now. He makes his debut tomorrow night live on BT Sport.
17 stone, 10 pounds.
17-10 for Moses Atalma. How do we feel about that weight for an 18-year-old heavyweight making his debut?
Yeah, that's pretty good, I think.
Once again,
17 stone 10. Now, what's that in? When you convert it, that's 248 pounds, that is, I think. So, you know, you can see that there's kind of, I wouldn't say puppy fat necessarily, but there's weight there that can still be converted into solid muscle, would you say?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I know what you're saying. As you say, he's only 18. I mean, yeah, I suppose if he gets any bigger, mate.
Yeah, I think he's going to get bigger. That's the thing, and it's exactly what you said, Andy. You can see there's parts where it's soft, where it will get harder. It will get a lot harder, especially all the work he's doing alongside yourself and Jordan Vine. But an exciting moment for British boxing.
Our next 2 combatants to the scale competing tomorrow night in a scheduled 12-round contest, and it will be for the WBA Flyweight Championship of the World.
Here come the flyweights.
To the scale, the world title challenger, coming to us from Cartago, Costa Rica, Pura Vida. He brings an undefeated record consisting of 12 wins. 9 of his 12 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is David Medallita Jimenez.
Well, it's fight number 13 for the fired up Costa Rican. Challenges for the WBA World Flyweight Championship tomorrow night live on BT Sport. A real bonus attraction, really. A world title fight between a Ukrainian and a Costa Rican that has landed in the UK. What a treat, Andy. What a treat.
I'm all over this one. I like this fight a lot because we spoke to him the other day, Jimenez, and you get a feel for whether somebody's really coming expecting to win or whether they're hoping to win or what the crack is with them. He is expecting to win. He came over, filled us in on his amateur record, 250 plus fights. He's got a bronze at the World Championships, a silver at a Pan Ams. They are very, very hard earned. And there's nothing on his record really apart from his last fight, but it was a huge win in California away against Sandoval, who's a rated fighter. Went to his backyard, beat him on points, which is a difficult thing to do away from home. So he is, you know what I mean, Sam? It's just sometimes you'll have seen backstage or during fight week opponents, not necessarily yours, but you get a feel, don't you, for the way that they've travelled, how many people there are with them, whether they really mean business or not.
Yeah, see, I've not seen either of these two fight before, so I'm looking forward to this. You're saying they're good fighters.
This is a fight between the Ring Magazine number 6 flyweight, that is Jimenez, and the Ring Magazine number 3 flyweight, the man that he is announcing right now, Artur Beterbiev. It's a high-level fight, Sam.
Good fight. Well, it's a world title fight, I imagine it will be, yeah.
Well, not always, mate. Not always, but this one certainly is.
Of the world, Artur Beterbiev.
Fight number 22 for Artur Beterbiev. The last few years of his career have been a little bit plagued by inactivity. The pandemic didn't help, the war certainly didn't help, but he's kicking off this year defending his world title against an unbeaten fighter. 35 years old now, Artur Beterbiev, rated number 3 by Ring Magazine, unbeaten in 21 fights.
He looks quite big for a flyweight though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a thick guy, you can see it. There's a bit of a density to him. What are you seeing, Andy?
Well, you mentioned the inactivity, and that, as you get older, is always can be a problem when it comes to the weight, but particularly at these lower weights.
Yeah.
And obviously, the circumstances aren't ideal with what's going on in Ukraine. He's been training in Kiev. His family are elsewhere. He's got 4 kids.
7 stone, 13 pounds, 10 ounces.
Well, he's done it. He's done it. And he looks okay, doesn't he? He doesn't look, he looks fine to me.
Sweet, I think.
Proudly got that Ukrainian flag, proudly got that WBA belt. This is an elite level world champion defending his crown in this country tomorrow night. One of 2 elite level world champions doing that live on BT Sport and ESPN+. Let's have a look at the face-off.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, these two compete tomorrow night in a 12-round contest. It will be for the WBA
He looks up for it, doesn't he?
Flyweight Championship of the World.
You know, both of them have got that look in the eye, that knowing, that feeling. They are not here to lose. Artur Beterbiev has no intention of leaving this country without his world title. And I'll tell you, David Jimenez has no intention of leaving this country without a world title. You can see it, Andy.
Yeah, he mentioned it the other day. He wants to become Costa Rica's first professional world champion, and that's a great aim to have, a great ambition to have. I think that's going to be a good fight. We've seen some really, really good fights at flyweight and super flyweight over the last 10-15 years, really. And I think this one's going to deliver.
Yeah, and I think that the rest of the flyweight division will be watching on. Of course, as I mentioned there, by Ring Magazine, Beterbiev is rated number 3, Jimenez is number 6. The number 2 ranked flyweight in the world right now is Julio Cesar Martinez, and number 1 is Sonny Edwards. So it's a fight that will get a lot of attention tomorrow night.
Oh, Sonny, I know, has been after Beterbiev for a while. Him and Charlie went over to spar him probably about 4 years ago, something like that, and they felt like they both did well against him. So he's always wanted this fight, Sonny. I think it's right that he's number 1 because he's had some good defences. Alvarado in his last fight was a tough guy. He got through that one. He wanted that Martinez fight. He's wanted it for ages. There just seemed to be problems around making it. And it'd be great if he could get a unification, Sonny Edwards, because he's just a very good fighter, isn't he?
Yeah, of course. And of course we want to see that. And let's see part 1 of that tomorrow night as we wait for the weigh-in for the final time that Anthony Yarde and Artur Beterbiev will face off. I can't see a table in sight for Beterbiev to punch, Sam. So let's hope he doesn't try and punch Anthony Yarde, Sam.
Not till tomorrow anyway.
Can't be doing that.
I see didn't he get a bit angry on the press conference as well?
With me?
Yeah. With you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Excited on you, is he there?
Well, look.
What did you say to that when he got mad with you?
I tried sorry, Artur. I tried to be clever with how I asked him if he was going to knock out Anthony Yarde early, because he always talks about doing his work. So I said, are you going to try and do your work quickly? And he was like, why are you trying to make me angry?
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mean that. Sorry, mate. Thought you've been looking good. You've been in the gym and ain't looking well, mate.
It's filling up here nicely at Wembley. It's got that big fight feel. 7 o'clock tomorrow night, live on BT Sport. A real fight of consequence, a fight that means something. Artur Beterbiev defending his unified crown against Anthony Yarde. I'm joined by Andy Clark. I'm joined by Sam Noakes. They're both very excited. And Sam, tell us again, you met Artur Beterbiev yesterday and he didn't really say much to you.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to put my arm around him for the photo. I thought, well, I'll just do whatever he does. He didn't seem very chatty, but I can understand that. Probably check weight day. Yeah. Got a big fight coming up. I can respect that. Yeah. I'd probably be the same. I'd be thinking, who's this little fella? Go away.
You always see the stage fill up, don't you, when the main event's about to get on. Just someone stood next to George Warren there is, you know, he's an absolute legend. Istvan Coco Kovac, he was Olympic champion, world champion, European champion as an amateur, WBO champion as a professional, representing the WBO. You know, you got these guys who've been around it for years and years and years, and everybody gets equally excited, no matter how long they've been doing it, about a big fight. You just gets in you, doesn't it? Bit by bit during the week, it's the dial gets turned up, the temperature gets raised, and you see. I think what always kind of gets me more and more into it, Sam, is just looking at fighters, because if you're fighting on Wednesday, you're kind of quite happy, you know, you'll be nice and relaxed. On Thursday, your face looks a little bit more pinched and you might not say quite as much. On Friday, it's showtime and you're having to make the weight and everything just gets a lot more tense.
Yeah, I remember with my last fight, obviously Wednesday we had the media day, see your opponent, you're all like, hello mate, how you doing, like, you all right? And then Thursday we had the press conference, still a little bit more chatty, but you know, like, once he gets to weigh-in day, it's like, I'm done now, I've done all I've got to say. I don't want to say no more, and I think you're going to see that they look serious all week, so I think today's going to be like
definitely
good old tension.
I always make sure if I've got questions Wednesday and Thursday, you've got to get them done by Wednesday or Thursday, because Friday you're not going to get anything. No. Because before the weigh-in you don't want to know, and as soon as you made the weight, you're off, you're out, you're down the road.
One of mine before, he was like, oh Sam, can I grab you for an interview? I said, yeah, no problem. After, mate, after come, I'll slip straight out the back door and I'll gone.
Our main event participants, they will be competing in a 12-round contest, and it will be for the WBO, the WBC, the WIBF Unified Light Heavyweight Championship.
I'll tell you what, if Anthony Yarde pulls this off, it's going to be some win for him, mate. I hope he does it, I honestly do.
It's a big one, it's a big win for British boxing.
Yeah, that's right.
Big, huge.
Massive, isn't it? You think of the fights, even if you look at the light heavyweights they've got over here, mate.
22 of his 23 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is Anthony, the Beast from the East, Yarde.
Well, here is Anthony Yarde. A tremendous ovation here in Wembley for Anthony Yarde. The second time he is challenging for a world title. We are 3.5 years removed from that first challenge. He has grown as a person, he has grown as a fighter, and he believes his experience now that he learnt from that Kovalev fight, that he learnt from those Lyndon Arthur fights, will be key in what happens on Saturday night.
He's always in tremendous shape, isn't he? Always.
Yeah, he looks absolutely terrific, like he always does. Quite pinched in the face, but that's no problem. You would expect that.
He's a big old geezer, mate.
Isn't he? Well put, Sam. He is a big old geezer.
He'll be even bigger tomorrow.
12 stone 6 pounds, 4 ounces.
What's that in kilos? 79 kilos, or something like that?
Yeah, it's roughly that. Yeah.
It's perfectly on weight. The hard work is now
and now
done.
we welcome to the scale the defending world champion. He comes to us from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. He is undefeated with 18 wins. All 18 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the reigning and defending WBO, WBC, and IBF Unified Light Heavyweight Champion of the world, Artur Beterbiev.
Well, here is Artur Beterbiev. Fight number 19 as a professional. Was of course introduced with all those belts, WBC, IBF and WBO. He is also the lineal light heavyweight champion.
12 stone 6
and a very, very scary man.
For Artur Beterbiev.
I wonder if he'll have to trim that beard a little bit before tomorrow, because in pro boxing and in amateurs now they've relaxed the the kind of rules on beards, because for religious reasons you can't be telling somebody that they need to get rid of their beard when it's crucial to their faith. But it is quite bushy, isn't it? I wouldn't be surprised if he has to have a bit of a trim.
Do you think they might make him do it?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not absolutely sure.
I remember I got it once. I boxed in Scotland as an amateur, yeah, and boys, I don't get a lot of facial hair either, yeah. And they made me shave. They give me a one-blade razor. It was horrible, it was. I think that's a silly rule myself.
No, they've relaxed it now. There's a fighter, Kevin Lilly fighter,
I've turned over. They've relaxed it.
Inder Singh Bassi, basically, they did it absolutely the right way, but just made the authorities aware that for religious reasons, you can't be telling people to shave off their beards. It's not really acceptable.
Let's see this face-off.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this our main event tomorrow night. 12 rounds scheduled for the WBO, WBC, and IBF Unified Light Heavyweight Championship of the World.
Always tense.
It is.
Always tense. You can see that.
We had a good one last week between Eubank and Smith, and this is a good one.
This is up there. Both fighters mean business.
I wonder what they're waiting for. You know when you say about the first to look away.
The Unified World Light Heavyweight Championships on the line tomorrow night, live on BT Sport and ESPN Plus in America. A magnificent fight. Artur Beterbiev looks every inch the beast, and Anthony Yarde looks every inch the beast as well. I think we're going to try and grab a quick chat with Artur Beterbiev. I might lean on Andy to ask the questions in case he chins me.
I'll keep it brief, I think, if he wends his way over here, because he's going to want to get away. He's not going to want to say a lot. I think we know that, don't we?
I think we know that. I think he's not wanted to say a lot all week, but both fighters made weight. That is the main headline here. Both guys have made weight. We have got a fight tomorrow night live on BT Sport. Artur Beterbiev and Anthony Yarde. We can't wait for this one. What did you make of the face-off? It looked quite intense to me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It looks tense, but it's going to be. It's a big fight. And I mean, yeah, I don't think either will want to lose today, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be some scrap.
Yeah,
I am.
Look, there's just something about it. You mentioned it there about the Eubank Smith one. That had something good, but this had that as well, and it's got all those belts there as well. There's something in the air. Hopefully we'll go have a chat with him.
Yeah, there's just a lot at stake, isn't there? For Beterbiev, there's an enormous amount at stake, because, as you mentioned, he maybe hasn't had that one big money fight yet, and generally speaking, the big money comes at the back end of your career, and he's got to hold on for that. That's why he needs to keep winning, because he's got a family to support, and he wants to make sure he gets as much out of this professional boxing career as he possibly can. For Yarde, he'll feel like it's his turn, it's his time, and Beterbiev kind of broke off and faced the front first, but no, there's nothing in that.
Yeah, but he's got 18 KOs. You can't look into that too much.
He can do what he wants, can't he?
Yeah, mate, he does. Yeah. Especially around me, I ain't saying nothing to him.
I'm just hearing in my ear that he may have rushed out of the building, so they're trying to get hold of him to bring him back. I think maybe they
he ain't going to come back.
Do you want to go and talk to Dev? They probably thought, I don't know about that.
No, it's because you upset him yesterday, thinking I can't look at him again, I'm going to end up hurting him.
To be honest, I think with media obligations, if somebody kind of feels like they've said everything that they're going to say or want to say, then it's probably better not to make them.
I mean, the geezer's a world champion. He can do what he wants. If he don't want to come down and talk to me, he ain't got to, has he? I'm not going to tell him different.
Especially if he's got a record like that.
Yeah,
and there's no proof.
Let him do what he wants. If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it.
Yeah, I'll probably ring him up. Sorry, Arthur. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, the weigh-in process is going to continue very shortly here. Anthony Yarde is talking to BT Sport. We understand that Anthony Yarde will be brought over to us as well for a quick chat. Do you know what? Both of these fighters, when they've done their last face-offs, I've said to them, what did you see in his eyes? And they both just say, I've just seen eyes. They don't read anything into it. But I wonder, I was speaking to Andy about this earlier, I wonder if this close to a fight, maybe they have seen something. You know, they're all up there, all close and personal, about to fight.
They need a drink or something. That's what he was going through their head. Oh, I can't wait to get this done and get some food in me.
Yeah. Well, Artur Beterbiev was straight on the drink as well. I saw it.
Yeah, but they're big geezers for the weight, though, aren't they? They are big. So
what's that rehydration process like? Because I don't really understand all of this. It's not quite as simple as just drinking a massive bottle of water. I mean, you've got your drink prepared by your trainer, but you can't guzzle it down, I guess. I mean, how do you those hours that day? How do you do it?
They say you should have little sips, and obviously I've jumped on with my nutritionist now, and they say leave an hour before eating, but there's no way that you're not going to be guzzling that bottle of water down there. That's not lasting very long.
But you're supposed to take it easy, are you?
Yeah, you're supposed to do a lot of things, aren't you? I suppose. But at the end of the day, I'm getting that drink down as quick. If I'm thirsty, I'm going to drink it, I suppose.
And there's I
think it's more the food. I think it's more the food. That's the thing, because obviously your stomach's a bit smaller, so you've got to stretch it out with the fluids. But I think it's more what you eat after rather than the fluids you get on board, because it's more fluids the better.
What do you think he'll be doing now, Artur Beterbiev? Then is it? I mean, he won't just
guzzling
be going
that
straight.
drink.
He won't just be going straight in Nando's, though, will he? He's probably got his own.
Yeah, he'll probably have to do the same as we have to do. Wait an hour and then go from there.
Well, let's have a chat to a man.
Mate, I'll tell you, whoever gets this mic after me, he's sweating.
This is a young man, about to make his pro debut. Moses, let's jump in the middle there, mate.
Well, you're a big old boy,
jump in the middle. Look at the size of you. How was it? Your first weigh-in as a pro. Talk to us.
Like I said, it's a bit different from the amateurs. You don't really get the flashing light on people, but yeah, I can get used to this.
You had a face-off with him as well, Mr. Bode. Did it bode well for you? What do you think?
I don't really know what to say. You just kind of look in someone's eyes and just.
See, I told you, no one thinks nothing of it, mate.
No, you don't think nothing of it.
Were you trying not to laugh, or were you all serious?
No, do you know what it is? I don't know. I actually don't know. You're looking at someone and you know you're scrapping them tomorrow, so I don't really think anything of it.
We're boxers. We don't have a lot going through our heads, to be honest with you.
But you boys, you train together. I mean, how's he looking to you? Is he looking big and strong?
He's always big and strong. I'm always trying to keep up with him, isn't I?
I know on the runs, mate. This fella takes off.
I can run you, but you're big easy. You don't need to run.
Big night for the Italma family. We understand half of Slovakia is coming over for this as well. It's a big night. You must be delighted.
Yeah, of course. I'm truly blessed. Obviously, without God, this opportunity wouldn't take place. I want to thank him. But Slovakia's coming. Obviously, Nigeria's coming, and the whole of Britain will be in there as well. So it's going to be a bit mad.
Well, you must be so excited that all you've got to do now, you've got all of this stuff out of the way. As I mentioned yesterday, you've had more press conferences than what you've had fights. You've now had more weigh-ins than what you've had fights. Now you get to have your fight.
Yeah, of course. No, I'm excited. I'm excited. Not only for me, but to everyone to watch what I've been working on since I was like 9-10 years old.
And you only get one pro debut. I speak to fighters sometimes, and they say it all just kind of flashed by, and they didn't really take any of it in. It's important for you this week, but you seem like a relaxed kind of a lad. But important tomorrow that although you're locked in completely, you need to stay in the moment and enjoy it.
Yeah, no. Everyone always says enjoy the moment, but it's hard to enjoy a fight when someone's trying to come take your head off. But yeah,
I find it goes quickly, mate. I don't really remember my debut. It was like I remember walking in and then boom, it was done.
Literally, as soon as I just want to go in there, get the job done, and then I can enjoy after.
Have you get paid for overtime, mate?
Have you been getting advice from Carroll? Because he's had a pro debut. You know, Sam. All these boys have had their pro debut.
What can I tell him? What can I tell him?
You can tell him all sorts. Go on.
My brother gave me an advice to just take one fight at a time, but it's kind of I already know that already. So I don't really receive advice because I've kind of been, especially when I was back as the amateur, because I was like the one that everyone looked up to. It's like I'm the one giving out the advice, and now that I'm a bottom of the chain, it's a bit different.
Well, you only get one professional debut, Moses. You make sure you enjoy yours. We're going to let you go and do what you got to do. Best of luck to you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
What are you doing right now, by the way? Are you off down to Nando's? Nando's seems to be the restaurant of choice for fighters. What's the
I'm not too sure.
Timetable?
I know my brother's starving right now, so
he ain't got that problem being heavyweight.
I'm gonna go wherever he's going, and just follow wherever he's going.
Good man. Best of luck to you, Moses. Thank you so much.
You don't want to shake this off.
That is a young heavyweight, 18 years old, making his pro debut. We're going to crack on with the weigh-in here. We've got Tommy Fletcher on the scales here. Let's have a look at what's going on.
3 pounds 6 ounces for Tommy Fletcher.
Tommy Fletcher has been assuring us this week that his opponent needs to bring a pillow with him. I mean, that's good. That's fighting talk, isn't it, Sam? Have you ever told your opponent, bring a pillow, you might need it?
No, I'm a nice guy, Deb.
Yeah.
I'm a nice guy. I don't tell him all that because I don't like pride comes before the fall, really. So I'll try and just talk about it afterwards. Like, I knew this was going to happen. But
so you're not into your pillow talk, no?
No, not with geezers, no. But he's got a tough night. I mean, his Darryl Sharp is very tough, but I think where it's over 6, I've got faith in Tommy, to get the job done in under 6.
Absolutely. You can see the new trim as well. This is a man who is ready to go.
He looks like he likes him stare off as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, look, the guy he's fighting, Darryl Sharp, has only ever been stopped 3 times. We were talking about it earlier with Adam Morley, because Adam Morley is convinced Tommy Fletcher's going to stop him.
Yeah, I mean, if you can, then that would be a bit of a statement. I mean, Darryl's generally speaking boxing kind of super middle and light heavyweight, but he knows what he's doing. He's one of our really good away corner fighters.
Operator. He is good.
welterweight contest. First to the scale from Boaco, Nicaragua. His record 17 wins, 13 defeats, 2 draws, 7 wins, called by way of knockout. Here is Lester Lara.
Well, here comes Lester Lara, who'll be the opponent tomorrow night for Masood Abdullah. Masood Abdullah unbeaten in 7 fights. This is his 8th fight, and as Lester creeps up onto the scales, you don't see that very often.
He looks up for it as well, doesn't he?
He does look up for it. He's not here to mess about. Winning record.
9 stone, 6 pounds, 10 ounces for Lester Lara.
It's fight number 33 for the Nicaraguan.
Tomorrow night,
last time
Islington, London, England. Undefeated with 7 wins, 5 of his 7 wins come by way of knockout. Let's welcome Masood Supermass Abdullah.
Well, here comes the unbeaten 7-0 Islington featherweight, 29 years old. Said a couple of months ago he wasn't actually announced onto this card. He said, I want to get onto the card, and suddenly there was a pull-out, and he's ended up on the card, so good for him.
Yeah, good card to land on, to be honest. I like Masood. You always get a good scrap with Masood as well.
Yes.
We watched his last fight. I don't remember where it was, but that was a good tear-up.
For Masood Abdullah.
Feeling the look as well. He's got the glasses on. I think he should be doing that. There's a Clark Kentness about that. Pierce O'Leary does it as well. It's a good look.
It's quite misleading, isn't it? Because that's not what you're going to see in the ring on the night. There's just a kind of congregation of big wigs in front of us. They've just broken up the British Boxing Board of Control Secretary Robert Smith, referee Steve Gray, Cole Moretti from Top Rank, and it's these kind of huddles that you like about these weeks, isn't it? Particularly on weigh-in day. There's stuff to be done. Subsequently, there'll be rules meetings and all that kind of thing, and sometimes fighters go. Generally speaking, they don't, because you want to be left alone for that, but you've got to make sure that your representatives are there, because this is boxing and things can happen behind the scenes that are a little bit unexpected at times, so that the admin, the red tape, is not quite over yet.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not quite there yet, but 7 o'clock tomorrow night we will be there. That's when we go live on BT Sport. And here's Masood Abdullah, who you are looking at, unbeaten featherweight, taking on Lester Lara tomorrow night. We are at the weigh-in at Wembley.
To the scale competing tomorrow in a scheduled 6-round international super welterweight contest. First to the scale from Croatia. He has 58 professional bouts to his credit. Let's welcome Artur Beterbiev.
Well, look at this. We have just been joined by a 6'7" monster, Mr. Tommy Fletcher. We're going to have a look over there. Jump in the middle here, please, my friend. Jump in the middle there. Tommy Fletcher, you are facing Daryl Sharp. You have been telling people that Daryl Sharp needs to bring a pillow. Does he?
Listen, mate, well, he didn't bring with him now, but if he wants one, he can have it, mate. I'm telling you, on Saturday I'll get behind the jab, mate. I'm going to look to do a few rounds and put him out in devastating fashion, but if I get the valuable rounds in, then I can't complain, because that's what I need in my career going forward.
That would be quite a statement. We were talking about Daryl Sharp. He's only been stopped 3 times in his career. If you're able to do that, that's a bit of a statement.
That's what I'm saying. You see my last opponents, yeah? They all come to win, they all had a go, but then like, obviously they've not been stopped before. I was the first one to do it, but when you're fighting a man that's had 100 odd fights, only been stopped 3 times, I feel like that, in a way, not to the casual fans, but to the hardcore boxing fans, you'll know that's probably more of a statement than what it would be to stop someone that's had 3 fights.
You stop him, mate. That's a good scout, mate. That's a good scout.
Would be a good scout. We're gonna. What's your prediction for the main event, Yarde Beterbiev? How do you see that one going?
The main event, I'm telling you the truth, I really do think it's a tough ask for Yarde. But I think looking at them both today, I think Yarde's got a very good chance. But he's got to get in there, and I think he's got to get his respect early. He's got to nail him early with a good shot, gain his respect, and I believe the Phil Shelley won't really work for him for this fight, because Beterbiev, he comes in abundance, he throws a lot of shots, and that I think with that he might get picked. So if he gets in there, hurts him early, and takes it to him, he's got a good chance of winning this fight.
He's a kind of fighter, Beterbiev, isn't he? He'll hit what you give him.
Exactly.
So he'll hit that shoulder if he has to, and hit that shell and break it. You know, that's what he looks to try and do. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I just wonder, like, how easy or difficult is it still for you to make cruiser?
To be honest, I was in the amateur on light heavyweight. I was doing 81 kilos, which is I think that's 185 pounds. Then obviously COVID and that, and then I joined Mark. I said to him, I want to do light heavyweight still. Him and Jimmy looked at me like, are you crazy? Like, no, you won't be able to do light heavy. So I thought, you know what, I'll move up to cruiserweight. So now I'm making it fine. I'm literally breezing it. I'm making cruiserweight fine. So for the next few years I'll be at cruiserweight, but there's no doubt at all I will be a heavyweight in a few years. No doubt at all. I'm 6'7", I've got broad shoulders. You know what I mean? I'm not be the thickest set yet, but I'll keep eating, mate. I'll be up there with them big old lumps, big boys.
Let's have a look at Sean the Nightmare Noakes. Sam, of course.
Two nightmares. I'm the real nightmare.
Yeah, you're the Norfolk Nightmare.
I'm the Norfolk Nightmare.
Yeah. Sean Noakes, fight number 4 for him tomorrow night.
Well, I'm the bigger one out of the two at the minute. I'm actually heavier than he is.
You're heavier, yeah. Well, at the moment, even though he's a welterweight.
Yeah.
What have you been doing, Sam?
Oh, well, I'm still carrying a little bit of holiday weight.
He's very confident, Sean. I think very confident.
Yeah, I think 6 rounds will suit him a little bit better as well. So I don't like them 4 rounders. They're a little bit rushed still, aren't they, really?
It's his first 6-rounder, right?
First one, yeah.
Good opportunity for Sean Noakes.
What a card, though. Very good card for all us to be on, and I think it's awesome. Yeah, very good.
I just realised I'm in the company of 2 men with a 100% KO rate.
Yeah.
Well, keep it going, man. I'm telling you, I've got faith in you. I've got a little bet on you, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, we've just seen a fist bump. I know we're looking at the stage, but just off stage there was a fist bump between Tommy Fletcher and Sam Noakes.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, these 2 competing tomorrow in a scheduled 6-round international
5th or 6th.
5th or 6th.
Yeah. I think you cover up well for 4.
I'll jab his head off.
You think he'll get to him?
Uppercuts, mate. He's going to be ducking under. I'm a short fire. All I do is this. Up and down, up and down. Just make him eat an uppercut. That's the boys.
That's Sean Noakes. Got brother Sam looking on. His first 6-rounder tomorrow night.
Is to the scale competing tomorrow in a scheduled 6-round international featherweight.
That's the worst bit for him over, that is. That's the worst bit.
What will he do now? Presumably you're with him. You're going to go off for a...
Well, I've got training later, so I'm going to drop them back home.
All right.
Then go back up to Bromley and do a bit of training. Lose some weight.
I'll tell you what. This is a sleeper, this fight. I'm very intrigued by this fight. Umar Khan, the 5-0 prospect from Ilford, is taking on Sandeep Singh Bhatti. Now, Umar Khan is 5-0 with no knockouts. Sandeep Singh Bhatti is an absolute handful. We've seen him box Charles Frankham, give him a hell of a fight.
Oh, was that the one that you're
Yes, and Isaac Lowe as well, last time at Spurs Stadium. And I asked Isaac Lowe, what did you think? And he said he's a tough, expletive.
Yeah,
I'm not going to repeat it. But this is a tough guy, Sandeep Singh Bhatti.
Yeah, it's an interesting fight.
He's been in there with credible opponents, so
he just don't stop coming forward this one, does he?
Exactly.
From Ilford, London, England, undefeated with 5 victories. Ladies and gentlemen,
Umar brings a big crowd with him. I think he's got a great support.
Well, here is the very well supported Umar Khan, the cousin of Hamza Shiraz, unbeaten in 5, just 20 years old. Biggest fight of his career, really. We've talked up Sandeep Singh Bhatti. Umar Khan's going to need to be at his very best.
9 stone 1 pound for Umar Khan.
I spoke to Umar before the weigh-in. He told me he sells hundreds of tickets. You can tell, like, his support that he's got. He's got a big fan base, very big fan base.
Which is very good for a young fighter to have. Of course, you have that as well, Tommy Fletcher. Your nightmares from Norfolk, and Sam, you've got the Maidstone Massive as well. Is that fair, Tommy, to call your fans the nightmares from Norfolk?
They're the nightmares. They're all bringing nightmares. Trust me, Saturday.
They're just as bad and all. I think they like the piss up more than anything.
Well, there is the face-off between Sandeep Singh Bhatti and Umar Khan tomorrow night at the OVO Arena, Wembley.
How would you see this fight going, Dev? How's it going?
Yeah, I think this is a very intriguing fight for me. I think, Tommy, we're going to swap you out. We're going to bring in little bro, big bro. Sean Noakes, come and have a chat.
Oh, hello, mate.
Come and have a chat.
So mate, what's your name? Sean? No, that's you. That's me. What was your name?
Sam Sean.
Nice to meet you, mate.
First 6 rounder.
Yeah, mate.
How you feeling?
Excited. Yeah, so I think I'm going to see the best in me at 6 rounds. 6 to 8 rounds to be good at.
He reckons you're going to get him out of there. What do you reckon?
So I'll roll with the punches. If I rush it, it won't happen. So I just got to relax and it'll come. So
just enjoy it, mate. That's all I can say to you, really. I ain't got a lot of advice. I don't really know me boxing, to be honest. But I'll be there shouting, mate. Don't worry about it.
He said that he's bigger than you at the moment.
Oh, he's like a stone heavier than me at the minute.
Oi.
Oh, we
don't talk numbers, all right?
Don't talk weight.
I make weight easy. I love it. I love biting. I make weight easy.
You love eating, don't you?
Everyone loves eating, man. Ain't got nothing else to do.
Sean, while I've got you here, you're part of a huge card. You must be thrilled to be on such a brilliant card.
Yeah, honestly, I'm over the moon. Like, when I got a call from Francis, I was like, you want me in the card? Kushti. Well, I mean, like, yeah, I'm really very excited for it.
How do you see the main event going?
I don't know, because he can be hurt, Beterbiev, but I want Yarde to do it. But if it goes
he
past
got
6,
dropped up and then knocked him out.
if it goes past 6, I think it's going to be Beterbiev. I think he'll wear him out. But I want Yarde to get the win, obviously.
I'd love to see Yarde to do it. It's a big ask, but it's a big reward as well if he does it.
Exactly, he's getting on a little bit as well. Was he 38 now?
38, birthday on Saturday.
Well, you tell him that.
I ain't telling him nothing. I ain't telling him nothing.
I said he's in the best shape I've ever seen him.
See how scary he looks?
Yeah, I've seen it.
You keep starting on you,
I
don't you?
know, mate.
What's it like when you're kind of a fighter on the rise and you get a chance to be around someone like that for 2 or 3 days?
He's still not really
Have you been watching him?
Yeah, it's not really sunk in, mate. Because obviously I study boxing. I'm not like him, but I always watch the sport, follow everything.
Cheers for digging me out, mate.
Sorry, mate.
Why's he got to start on me? I've been knocking him live. He's started already.
He's done it live as well.
Obviously I follow boxing. It's been around all these people now. I'm still a bit starstruck sometimes, but you've got to keep it cool because I'm a part of the world now.
Well, we're going to have a little look at Charles Franklin, who's up on the stage. Makes his return tomorrow night.
A little bit up for it now, doesn't he? He doesn't very happy. I've seen him fight before, so who's his opponent fought before? Do you know? Have we seen him before?
This is Joshua Ocampo, and Charles Frankham is an amateur phenom. Andy was telling me about the trees that he was pulling up as a junior amateur, a really special talent.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, absolutely. He was right up at the top of the world in terms of the rankings. Medalled in major competitions, major tournaments, and you kind of expected to see him hang around in the amateurs for a bit longer, maybe. But we were talking about this on Wednesday, and there's a bit of a trend recently for top youth fighters to just turn pro without any senior experience, and that, well, Moses is doing it. Carroll did it pretty much. I don't think if he had any seniors, it was very limited. And I'm always fascinated by it because it is completely different. You two must have found it the first time you got in the ring with a man, basically, as opposed to youth boxing. It must be different. It must be really different.
Yeah, so all my experience is mainly senior. So I'll jump straight back in the ring after my time out as a senior with no head guard, 12-ounce gloves on and that. So I kind of warmed into it a bit easier.
I think it was a lot better. Once you take the head guard off, it's a lot better, I think.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
But yeah, it's a bit better when you take the head guard off, I think. I think even when you play, like, I had a lot of senior fights, but when I got hit with my first jab, my debut, with that hard little 8-ounce glove, I thought, cool, that's different. Like, just remember, normally there's like a little soft sponge. This one was like a thud.
I got my first go at 8 ounces tomorrow.
I don't like 8 ounces.
I'm quite looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Are you in 8s tomorrow? Yeah.
8s tomorrow, yeah.
The gloves are a big thing, though. I remember talking to Frampton about this and Matt Macklin, and they were both saying that when they made their debuts, Matt was saying that, like, for one of his really early fights, the guy on ahead of him came down the stairs. It was at Wembley Conference Centre, so the dressing rooms were underground. And the guy who'd been on before him and lost came down the stairs, and he said his face was bashed to bits, cut to pieces. And he looked at him and just thought, oh, wow.
Well, they don't care about you in pro boxing. Amateurs, they want to make it as safe as possible. Pros, they don't.
Those 8-ounce gloves, you can hardly get your hand in them.
Well, you're slowly turning me off of them. I was all excited a second ago.
Have a good one, mate.
I prefer 10-ounce gloves. If I had a choice, I'd be in 10. And I'd be a lot happier on my in days as well if I was in 10.
Well, here comes Joshua Frankham. It's been a little while. We haven't seen him since May last year. He's been suffering a bit of illness outside the ring, but he is back and he's looking to kick off 2023 with a bang. He's on a fantastic show. He's on there with his cousin Charles Frankham. And let's see if he can make a statement on Saturday night.
11 stone, 8 ounces for Joshua Frankham.
Well, just a reminder here, we are at the official weigh-in ahead of Artur Beterbiev and Anthony Yarde. Both fighters have weighed in, both fighters have made weight, and both fighters will be fighting tomorrow night live on BT Sport. The unified World Light Heavyweight Championship is on the line, and perhaps not enough's been made about it, but the lineal championship is on the line as well, as Andy Clark next to me nods along. Andy, are you a fan of this lineal status? Do you believe in it? You can only say yes, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one because you could go round in circles with it a bit at times, because we had a massive debate with it, didn't we, around Tyson Fury when he kind of retired, but then he reactivated his career, and in the meantime the lineal title kind of passes to someone else by consensus. But then when Fury came back, he's since then reasonably claimed to be lineal champ. But when you trace back, you know, the man who beat the man who beat the man and all that kind of stuff, it definitely does mean something.
Yes.
It definitely means something.
And with regards to that, we're talking about Artur Beterbiev being the lineal champion. He beat Alexander Vosnik, who beat Adonis Stevenson, who beat Chad Dawson, I did my research, who beat Bernard Hopkins, right? And this is where they got it from. So these are credible names, a credible lineage of that title.
Dev, am I right in saying it's the first unified title it's gone up for grabs in England before?
Dev looks at Andy.
Well, there's three belts. Josh Taylor was in Scotland. We had, Joshua Parker was in Wales. That was a world heavyweight title unification.
So have I trumped you both here?
No,
I'm sitting here thinking, what does lineal heavyweight mean? What's that? What's lineal champion mean?
You think it's a shower gel or something, didn't you?
Man, I ain't got a clue. I just punch things.
We are live with the Noakes brothers as well as Andy Clark.
Along with our great sponsors, 32 Red, Full Asylum, Unibet, Arnold Clark, and 3-3 in cinemas.
I don't think I'm going to have time to get to training.
Doors open tomorrow at 4:30. First fight
Where do you want to go for the shoot?
All right, thank you so much for joining us, Sam Noakes, Sean Noakes. Who's got your pretty mixed up? Thank you for joining us, and good luck tomorrow night. Sean, little fist bump. And we are back on live here.
That house must be exhausting.
Oh, mate,
the Noakes household must be absolutely exhausting. They're good company, really good fun.
Yeah, good company. They're good chat. Do you want to come in? Let's
get him in. Spencer Fearon.
Let's bring in Spencer Fearon. Look, this is a man who has been on the Anthony Yarde journey since day one, right?
Something like that.
Talk to us.
You know what? I'm just honoured to see you up here, Deb, and to see my old verbal sparring partner.
Absolutely,
I haven't held a microphone.
Always good to see you.
Beside this guy in what? This has been like 2.5 years. That's
it's a while. Yeah, it's a while.
It's a while.
You're looking very well. I say very lean.
You know what? It's amazing what training does. It's amazing.
Work, right?
You should try it.
Spencer,
I definitely should try it.
Big fight. Mm-hmm. Biggest night in the career of Anthony Yarde. He's gone through so much as a man, gone through so much as a fighter.
Yeah.
Is he ready?
Of course he's ready. He's here, isn't he? If he wasn't ready, he wouldn't be here.
Well, tell me, he's got the beast in front of him, right? 18 fights, 18 knockouts. Can he do it?
Why can't he do it? You see, the intangibles is this, right? It's a massive art. Let's be real. It's massive. The arts it's a massive art. To you lot, it's massive. To somebody who's not on that frequency, it's not a massive ask. Because if you want it that much, you know what I mean? I'm trying to tell people to live your dreams and aspirations, not your fears and desperations. Anthony Yarde is that guy. Tundi has had this embellished inside of his mindset of dream it, believe it, become it. He's lived this thing. The missing jigsaw in that whole puzzle was that old, wily, former British and European champion in James Cook.
Yeah.
So Tundi Ajayi needed that bigger brother figure. Not even a bigger, elder, because I got Tundi into boxing. I took Tundi to the British Board of Control to get his license, right? I can't tell Tundi like that. You know why? We're the same age group. He's my guy. You know what I mean? We can advise on things. He can say, yeah, I'll take that. What fight shall I watch? And yeah, that's cool. But he hasn't had that. Now he's got that. And now he's settled. It seems like the whole camp is more mature.
Yeah.
Right? And yes, it's a massive ask. But what I'm saying is this. Is Beterbiev faster than Anthony Yarde? Would you say that?
No.
I'd agree, no.
Okay. Can Anthony Yarde double and triple left hook? Can he do that? Have you seen any fights?
I've seen him do it. I've seen him do it, Spencer.
Okay then, right.
Keep it coming.
So the chances of this, Beterbiev, as we know, is very good. But if I buy into that energy, that's all that I'm doing. And I'm like, my studies are getting very, very deep as well, right? It's like, it's not just my emotion, I want him to do it, and I've been blinded. I sit, Andy knows, I watch a lot of boxing. I have no life, right?
Yeah, you do watch a lot of boxing.
I have, you know what I mean? You ain't got no life.
No, I watch a lot of boxing too.
Join the club, right? Join the club. We're in the no life club, right? So when you study and you keep on watching all things, like you see flaws. I see the great stuff that he does as well. Beterbiev is excellent, right? He's excellent, but to what? If I was to go in the analogues of the light heavyweight history, would he have beaten Andre Wood? In your opinion?
I think that's a fascinating fight.
That would be a really good fight. I mean, I would say I'd love to see it.
Right. Do you think he would have beaten Andre Wood?
I couldn't say for sure that he would have.
Huh?
I couldn't say for sure that he would have.
Okay, then let's just flip it after that. Do you think that Beterbiev would have beaten Bernard Hopkins?
It depends.
Do you want to phone a friend?
It depends on which Hopkins we're talking about, really. It's
the Hopkins that fought Antonio Tarver.
It's very difficult to back against that Hopkins.
Okay, then. Right. Do you think that Beterbiev would have beaten Joe Kawasaki?
Yes.
You think he'd have beaten Joe?
Yeah, I do, actually, yeah.
You think? You think he'd have beaten Joe Kawasaki?
Well, because the Kawasaki we saw at light heavy was towards the end, wasn't it?
Towards the end, he only had a couple of fights there. He'd need to be able to keep him off. That's the thing, and I think he hits very hard. I don't know the answer, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Kawasaki beats Beterbiev.
Do you think he'd have beaten Michael Spinks?
That's a tough one to call.
You think Beterbiev would have lasted with Michael Spinks?
I think that's a good fight.
Do you think he would have beaten Michael Spinks?
Again, I can't say, it's...
I was invited around my house for Christmas dinner and everything. You think he'd have beaten Michael Spinks? Michael Spinks is one of the greatest to ever do it at light heavyweight. You'd have beaten him?
Yeah, look...
Well, we go through the list. Bob Foster, Archie Moore, Ezra Charles. Beterbiev is not in that bracket as far as I'm concerned. Right?
But Spencer, let me say this. He doesn't need to be. Does he beat Anthony Yarde? That is the question.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't beat Anthony Yarde.
Why does he not beat Anthony Yarde? What can he do that the other 18 didn't do?
The thing what Anthony Yarde can do that the other 18 couldn't do was actually believe in themselves. Right? Now, I want to know, all them other guys, Joel Smith Jr. didn't believe in himself. I know for a fact. As soon as he felt he kind of, Marcus Brown, another guy. And there's no disrespect to Marcus Brown, but I'm just telling you how it is. We're mates on Instagram, right? But on the reals, when and Marcus Brown was like, just the belief. You know what I mean? Because if you can believe in yourself so much, and you want it so much, you know what I mean? You can actually have it, but you have to believe in it. And I believe like he has that team around him that believe in it as well. It's not like Ali versus Foreman in 1974 when Ali's saying, listen, man, we're going to do this. No, it's not one of those. The whole camp believes it. They've trained really hard, and I mean really hard. And yes, Beterbiev is very good. Anybody else going in there, say, ooh, I really do believe that we're going to see an upset tomorrow night. I really do. And if I'm wrong, you're going to say, because you're saying it because you're mate. If I'm wrong, I'm happy to be wrong. I don't care. But I'm saying, like, I know what this young man's got. I know what he's got in his arsenal. I know what he's got in his tank. And when I'm hearing James Cook phone me like 4 o'clock in the morning and like saying, the run that we did the other day and he's on it. And when I'm hearing that from James Cook, Tundi's the person that would say you're on it regardless. That's Tundi, right? But when James Cook's telling me he's on it, it gives me that extra piece of confidence that is so needed. It's a difficult fight. Yes, it is. But I'm behind him, and I know and Beterbiev's going to get a shock when he comes over into that arena tomorrow. He's going to be in for a shock because I know that I'm getting phone calls right now for tickets. Everyone's on it for tickets, and also I'll say a massive big up to Francis Warren because he just hooked me up. So big up Francis Warren. Big up Francis, man. Yeah. Right now I'm just going to be real. I'm looking forward to this fight.
Yeah.
I'm happy that this fight is happening, and you know what? And I'm so proud of Anthony Yarde, Tunde Ajayi, Big Ads, and James Cook.
Look, it's that was quite inspirational. You got me hyped. You got me more hyped.
But listen, I agree with a lot of that because I do think that during fight week, what you can always tell, particularly when you've got a fighter for whom it is a big ask, you could tell whether their confidence is real or not. And his confidence is real. That's really obvious.
Yeah.
They genuinely believe that they're going to win. And there's a massive difference between someone coming expecting to win, we've been saying this all week, haven't we, and someone who's coming hoping to win. They expect to win. And if you don't expect to win, you're not going to win. That's rule number one, isn't it?
And I'm saying that Beterbiev is very, very good at goading people into being fearful. And that's part of the battle.
Do you think some fighters are beat before they get in the ring with him?
Of course they are.
Definitely.
When you're seeing this guy, he can punch through concrete. He can, right? You're seeing the kind of electric work that he's doing inside the gym. Him and Mark Ramsey and John Scully. Big up John Scully's my guy still, but we're warring until tomorrow.
He's got a serious corner, Artur, as well.
Of course, he's got a very good corner. He's got very. Listen, and also it's like John Scully can really break down fights. Very, very good guy at breaking down fights. But you know what I mean. But when we're breaking down fights, we're looking to break down his fighter. And like I said, I am so proud of what that young man has accomplished, and I know the roads that he has come from to what he's doing now. He's a role model, and he's a decent human being. And to see the whole shift in the camp of the mindset, and they've been totally focused on it. Tundi's a guy I speak to 4 or 5 times a day. When they're in camp, we don't speak to each other. You know what I mean? This is the first time I've seen Tundi in nearly a month today. And he was shocked that I even come because he knows what I'm like. So I'm saying go out there and grab this thing with 2 hands, and in Tundi Ajayi's words, dream it, believe it, become it. Anthony Yarde, new world light heavyweight champion, right? Because if you can visualize it, you can materialize it.
That's a beautiful note for you to drop the mic on. You should have dropped the mic immediately, Spencer.
I would have, but I didn't want to be rude.
Yeah, maybe just place the mic. But brilliant having you, Spencer.
Bro, thank you very much, Andy.
Really
pleasure,
great
man.
breakdown.
Good
to see you. Yeah, good.
How's the chocolate business?
Yeah, not bad at all. It's hard graft.
You want to take your wife's chocolate?
I'm waiting.
Bro.
I'm ready for the chocolate.
I'll bring some next time.
See you lot tomorrow. Yeah,
see you tomorrow.
That's Spencer Fearon. And before we wrap up, we're going to have a chat with one final fighter, Mr. Joshua Frankham, who's coming in, who's been patiently waiting. Mr. Josh Frankham. No.
Yeah, good.
Don't worry about us. How are you? Finally, you're back out.
I'm back.
How are you feeling? Happy?
Yeah, I'm all good. Rehydrate now. Get the weight back on. Ready to go tomorrow night.
How did it feel on those scales?
Yeah, I felt good. I felt comfortable. I'm fighting a little bit heavier than what I'm used to. So feeling good, Dev.
Talk to me about the main event.
Yeah.
You're on a brilliant show. You're on a huge card, and this main event has captured the imagination of the British public. You break it down for me. How do you see this one going? There's that face again. Whenever I ask someone how they see this fight going, it's always...
It's the same all week, isn't it?
And then they say something. Go on, what are you saying?
To be honest, if Yarde doesn't put it on him in the first 4 or 5 and come out all guns blazing, I think it's going to be a very hard night for him. Very hard night. I'd love to see Anthony win. I think I just have to go with Beterbiev.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, I know you're on the card and all the rest of it, but it's the logical, rational pick is him. You know, there's no escaping that. We've just been speaking to Spencer Fearon, and what he was saying, and I believe him, is that Anthony Yarde absolutely believes that he can win, and that is step number 1, isn't it? Yeah. Your confidence has got to be rock solid and real if you're going to have any chance.
Definitely. Listen, he has to believe he can win, otherwise he wouldn't be here. You know, and he's proved it. He went to Kovalev before, he went to his back garden and tried with Kovalev. That wasn't to be, and now hopefully this might be his night, but I just can't see it. I'd love to see him win. All Brits would love to see him win, but it's going to be a tough night.
Brilliant talking to you, Josh. We're going to swap you out. We're going to bring in Denzel Bentley.
Big Dens.
Good luck. You can do a passing of the mic torch.
The 2-time British champ.
Andy, you're welcome to leave whenever you like.
The 2-time British champ.
Yeah. Have a chat with Denzel.
No, always
stick around.
Chat with Denzel, definitely.
Thank you very much.
Can't leave you hanging. That's good. Oh, jeez. Can I get one of them ones?
Is it?
Yeah. Jeez. How are we?
I thought you were in Ghana.
I was.
Saw some pictures.
I was. But I'm here. I'm here now. Yeah.
You're working for BT Sport tomorrow, though, right?
This is what brought me back.
Jeez. Denzel, great to see you. Great to have you here with us. This is a big fight. Yeah. This is a big night for British boxing, a huge opportunity for Anthony Yarde. I saw your tweet earlier. You're rocking with him. Talk to us.
100%, man. I'm rocking with Anthony Yarde. We all know Beterbiev's dangerous. He's a dangerous man, but we're all human. Anyone can get clipped. Anyone can get hurt. We see him go down when Callum Johnson clipped him. If Ant can do that and stick on him, who knows what could happen. But I think when Callum Johnson done it, he didn't really believe he hurt him and wanted to get in there, or maybe he was too hurt himself. But I think Ant's built with confidence, strong physically, He just needs to, whatever they've been working on in the gym, get that right on the night, and he should be all right.
That's very interesting what you mentioned there, because people talk about when Callum Johnson hurt him and he didn't capitalise. But people perhaps are forgetting Callum Johnson may have already been hurt. He'd been down at that point. His head was sort of in between the ropes, and Beterbiev didn't hold back. He just sort of lamped him.
Yeah.
So that was a wounded Callum Johnson hurting Beterbiev, trying to get him out of there. If Anthony Yarde is unwounded, maybe he can jump on him, Andy.
Yeah, the early stages are crucial, because you can't do what Joe Smith Jr. did, which is just step into the middle of the ring and start swinging. At that level, that's the level you're at now. That's, in boxing terms, that's suicide, to be honest with you. So you can't do that. He's got to tread that fine line, hasn't he, between being aggressive but not giving anything away. I mean, this is the real highest level we're talking about here.
100%.
Ideally, he hits him with something solid in the first round and just makes him think, and then he's in the fight.
Yeah.
This is essentially, Denzel, for me, this is like you facing a prime Gennady Golovkin. It's that the guy that come over to box Kell Brook against yourself. I feel that's the difference, kind of in levels and step up. Do you agree with that? And how would you have approached a fight with that Gennady Golovkin back then?
You could say that. In that fight, I think, most of the public felt like Kell Brook hurt him. Do you know what I mean? So it's just a matter of anyone can get hurt, and even with him, just like what Andy said, it's a fine line between being aggressive and stamping your authority and being a little bit cautious so you're not running into nothing. Like what Joe Smith Jr. done, like he said, it was suicide. You're swinging with nothing coming back against a dangerous puncher like that. You know what I mean? But these two are both dangerous punchers, and I think if Andy goes in there with the right mindset and stamps his authority, controls the centre of the ring, tries to push Beterbiev back, he'll get his work off and might land some shots. Because you've seen Beterbiev on the back foot, he just moves. He doesn't try to hit you in the back foot. He moves, tries to find his way back around the centre and then come forward again. I think Ant just needs to control the centre, cut off the ring. It's going to be difficult though.
Easier said than done, isn't it?
It's not easy. Yeah. I'm saying it like it's simple, but
just
it's not.
Control the centre of the ring.
It's not, because Beterbiev's going to want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's who has the most courage in this fight, who wants it more, who doesn't fear being hurt. It's like, let's go kind of fight, like dig deep.
Well, look, the parallel I can make in Anthony Yarde's career and your career is that you have just fought Janibek, you came up short. He fought Kovalev, he came up short. But I'm sure you think for your next world title fight, you will be very well equipped considering the experience you got in your first world title fight. Do you believe that to be the case? And do you think maybe this time, with that experience, he can catch that big fish?
100%. There's no fight right that doesn't look back on the loss and tries to think or tries to see or tries to look at the mistakes they made in that fight. My fight against Janibek, I've watched it, I can't tell you how many times, but I'm always looking at little things, especially like the first 4 rounds, why I let it go. What was I thinking in there later in the rounds? Or why didn't I do this? You're always thinking of these things. Next time I'll do this, next time I'll do that. And I'm sure and Tunde have gone through all these things and thought, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to work on. If maybe we step this way, cut off the ring better, we could have caught him and took out Kovalev. And they're going to try all these things. Yeah. And obviously they've had fights in between, and maybe they've tried those things in between. And I think every fight, well, apart from the first and another fight, but every fight after that's been a knockout.
Yeah.
He would have even took something from the Linden after fight, the first fight. You saw that in the second fight. He came back and had a whole different demeanour about himself. So he's going to come with the same kind of energy for the Linden after fight and think, I've got to stick it on this guy, but I've got to be careful. And we should see a great fight either way. Whatever way it goes, it's going to be a great fight. Like, I think Ant's going to do himself proud this fight.
So all those what-ifs that he's got in his head from Kovalev, he can completely erase them by knocking this guy out tomorrow night.
Easily. I don't even think he has what-ifs in his head. If you see the way he carries himself, the confidence he walks around, and he's not thinking about that no more. He's had how many fights after that? I think he probably would have been thinking more about what-ifs for the Linden after fight, but he's got rid of that now.
Yeah.
That's done. Now he's a clear mind, he's in a clear state. He looks confident, he looks in great shape. He looks ready to me. He looks ready, and I'm really hoping he can pull it off.
What's going on with you then, Denzel? When are we going to see you again?
I've heard April.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So now April. So I'm getting ready for April. But for now, I'm just behind the cameras doing the talking.
Yeah. You've held on to the British, haven't you? People think that if you challenge for a world title, then you automatically have to vacate. But you don't have to.
No,
You're still British champ, aren't you?
Yeah. It's if you win, or if you have a mandatory opponent, and then you just have to go
pull out.
Then you have to vacate. But no, I've held on to mine. So I'm still British champion now.
Okay. Well, Denzel, been brilliant talking to you. And look, viewers are going to hear a lot more from you tomorrow night. I understand you're alongside a special guest who hasn't been revealed yet.
Oh, it hasn't been revealed to me neither.
There you go. Be on the broadcast together, and it should be all sorts of fun. I'm going to come to you for your final prediction. Yeah. Artur Beterbiev, Anthony Yarde. Who's going to win and how?
Anthony Yarde, and I'm going to say KO because this ain't going the distance. This is not going the distance.
It would be a major shock if this went 12 rounds. It really would.
Yeah, definitely.
Andy Clark? Artur Beterbiev, Anthony Yarde, get off that fence, don't you dare.
Well, I made one prediction for a pal of mine earlier in the week who was writing an article, and I'm a painfully logical and rational man to the point where it can be pretty annoying.
Yeah.
And that dictates that you have to pick Beterbiev, but that doesn't mean that's what will happen. You know, this game can make fools of us all. It did it last week. Nobody picked Liam Smith early.
That's
Nobody,
true.
Literally not one person, and that's what
true.
happened. So, you know, there's logic and rationality, but that's not how the world works, is it? It doesn't always end up like that.
Doesn't always end up like that. Denzel, thank you so much for joining us. Andy, thank you for doing this 4-hour stint or however long it's been. Well, we've been chatting away. Thank you for viewing all of this, and join us tomorrow night live on BT Sport from 7 o'clock. It's a cracker, it's a monster, it's proper boxing, it's everything that boxing is about. 7 o'clock, Artur Beterbiev defends his unified World Light Heavyweight Championship against Britain's Anthony Yarde. You're not going to want to miss this.